Tea started as a harmless joke, or at least, that's what I told myself. My husband, Ryan, and I had been married for 4 years. Things were comfortable, maybe too comfortable. The spark had dimmed, and in my boredom, I found myself spending more time with Ethan, my guy bestie from college. He was easy to talk to, funny, and always ready with a sarcastic comment that made me laugh. Ryan, on the other hand, had become quieter lately, more focused on work, and I convinced myself he wouldn't mind a little teasing to lighten things up. One Friday night, during dinner with a few of our friends, someone brought up relationships and jealousy. I smirked, sipped my wine, and said, "Oh, Ryan doesn't have to worry. Ethan takes care of all my emotional needs." Everyone laughed, except Ryan. He looked up from his plate with a polite smile, but his eyes told a different story. There was something distant in his gaze, something I couldn't quite read. The laughter around the table faded, and suddenly I wished I could swallow the words back. The next morning, Ryan was up early, already dressed for work even though it was Saturday. He kissed my forehead softly and said, "I've got something to handle at the office. Don't wait up for me." His tone was calm, but too calm. I tried calling Ethan to meet for coffee later, just to distract myself, but he didn't pick up. I brushed it off, maybe he was busy. But when I opened Instagram that afternoon, I froze. There was a story, Ryan and Ethan, together, at the golf club. Ryan never played golf. The caption read, "New friends in old places." My stomach dropped. What was going on? I called Ryan, but he didn't answer. Hours later, he came home, still perfectly composed. "How was your day?" he asked with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. I stammered something about errands. He nodded, kissed my cheek, and went straight to the shower. Over the next week, something about him changed. He wasn't cold, he was different. He cooked dinner, cleaned the kitchen, even brought me flowers. But his phone, which used to be left on the counter, was now always in his pocket. And Ethan? He suddenly became unavailable. My texts were left on read. One night, I confronted Ryan. "Is something going on between you and Ethan?" I tried to sound calm, but my voice trembled. He raised an eyebrow, chuckled softly, and said, "Shouldn't I be asking you that?" I didn't know what to say. He leaned closer and whispered, "You wanted to tease me about your guy bestie? Let's see how it feels when your bestie becomes my friend." The next day, I met Ethan in a cafe, desperate for clarity. He looked uneasy, shifting in his seat. "Ryan came to see me," he admitted. "He told me you've been feeling neglected and that he wanted to thank me for keeping you company. He even invited me to your anniversary dinner next week." My eyes widened. Ryan hated big gestures, yet here he was, planning something elaborate. Ethan looked guilty. He also told me something else. He said he knows how close we've been and that he doesn't mind, because he trusts you. That hit me like a slap. Ryan wasn't angry, he was testing me. When our anniversary dinner came, I dressed in a red dress Ryan loved. The restaurant was beautiful, candlelight, soft music, and a private table overlooking the city. Ethan was there too, already seated with Ryan. The air was thick with tension. Ryan greeted me with a kiss on the hand and poured me wine. "To honesty," he said, raising his glass. I tried to play along, but my hands were trembling. Then, halfway through dinner, Ryan placed his phone on the table and played a recording. My voice filled the air of me laughing on a call with Ethan a week ago, saying, "If Ryan keeps ignoring me, I might as well run away with you." My blood ran cold. Ethan's face turned pale. Ryan looked at me steadily and said, "That's what you call harmless teasing?" Tears welled in my eyes. "Ryan, it was a joke," I pleaded. "I didn't mean it." He nodded slowly. "I know. That's why I didn't get angry. I just wanted you to hear how it sounds." He stood up, slid an envelope across the table, and said softly, "Inside is a 2-week ticket to Italy, for you. Alone." I've already told your boss you'll be taking time off. Maybe you can figure out what you really want. I opened the envelope, stunned. He kissed my forehead and walked out. Ethan shifted uncomfortably, muttering, "I'm sorry, I never meant," but I couldn't hear him. The world felt like it was spinning. That trip to Italy was supposed to be a punishment, but it became something else. Being alone gave me time to think about everything I'd taken for granted. The man who had loved me enough to make me laugh through every hard day had quietly endured being mocked in front of his friends, being made to feel like a placeholder. I realized how cruel my harmless teasing had been. I wrote Ryan letters every day from Florence, though I never sent them. When I returned home, 2 weeks later, Ryan wasn't there. The apartment was spotless, but emptier. There was a note on the kitchen counter. Sometimes silence says more than anger ever could. I still love you, but I need to see if I can forgive you. Don't wait for me. I broke down right there, clutching the note, feeling every ounce of regret I'd ignored for years. A month passed before he finally called. "I'm not sure where we go from here," he said quietly. "But I want to try, if you're ready to stop playing games." I cried, promising him I was. Now, a year later, I still think about that night at dinner, the laughter, his quiet eyes, the way I mistook calm for indifference. Ryan taught me something I'll never forget. Sometimes, the worst pain doesn't come from betrayal, but from realizing how close you came to losing someone who loved you unconditionally. My teasing once made him question my loyalty, his silence made me question my soul. And I've never joked about my guy Bestie again. ChatGPT can make mistakes. Check important info.